Early Christian communities had to create their entire organizational structure from scratch. Ben, imagine trying to build a worldwide movement with just a manual written in 230 AD to guide you.
That's fascinating to think about, Pappy. And this wasn't just any manual. The Didascalia Apostolorum was essentially the first comprehensive guide to church operations.
You know what's really interesting? This wasn't written in Rome or Jerusalem, but in Syria. Here's this community far from Christianity's birthplace, creating the blueprint for church organization for centuries.
Hmm. And they had to figure out everything from scratch: leadership structures, financial systems, even dress codes for worship.
Well, speaking of leadership, let's talk about how revolutionary their approach was. They created this hierarchical system with bishops at the top, but, and here's the surprising part, they balanced it with an incredibly progressive emphasis on compassionate leadership.
The way they structured their charity system was pretty remarkable, too. Everything had to go through the bishop's office, kind of like an ancient version of modern nonprofit oversight.
Right? And get this, they had specific roles for widows that went way beyond just receiving help. These women became what they called ministers of prayer and had actual responsibilities in the community.
Though when it comes to gender roles overall, it's pretty complex. Women couldn't teach men or speak in church, but deaconesses held essential roles, such as baptizing female converts.
You know what really stands out to me? Their approach to handling conflicts and misconduct. Instead of harsh punishments, they emphasized restoration and healing. Pretty progressive for 230 AD.
So, how did they actually implement these policies across such widespread communities?
Well, that's where it gets interesting. They created this detailed system of communication and standardization. Like they specified exactly how baptisms should be performed, when people should fast, even what they should wear to services.
The level of detail is pretty incredible for something written so long ago.
And here's something that might surprise people. They had a sophisticated approach to preventing charity fraud. They required documentation, verification of needs, and regular check ins with recipients.
That sounds remarkably similar to modern social services systems.
Exactly. And their approach to community building was fascinating. They understood that you needed both structure and flexibility, rules to keep order, but enough compassion to keep people engaged.
The way they handled their relationship with Judaism is particularly intriguing, trying to maintain connections while establishing their own distinct identity.
Oh, yeah, that's a crucial point. They were walking this incredibly delicate line, using Old Testament imagery and calling themselves the true Israel while simultaneously warning against Jewish practices.
Must have created some interesting tensions in those early communities.
You know what's really mind blowing? Many of the basic structures they established, the hierarchy, the charity systems, the emphasis on community care, are still recognizable in churches today.
That's quite a legacy for a manual written almost 1800 years ago.
And here's something to think about. They were dealing with many of the same challenges we face today. How do you maintain unity while respecting diversity? How do you balance authority with compassion? How do you ensure resources are distributed fairly?
Those questions seem pretty eternal, don't they?
Absolutely fascinating how they approached these challenges. They created this comprehensive system that was both structured and flexible, both practical and spiritual.
Looking at it from our perspective now, what do you think was their most innovative contribution?
Well, I'd say it was their understanding that building a lasting community requires both strong systems and human compassion. They didn't just create rules, they made a framework for human connection and mutual support.
That's quite relevant to our modern discussions about community building and organizational structure.
And maybe that's the biggest lesson we can take from the Didascalia, that thriving communities need both practical wisdom and emotional intelligence, both clear structures and human understanding.
Sounds like these ancient church leaders might have something to teach our modern organizational experts, Pappy.
You know, studying this really makes you wonder, Ben, what will people 1,800 years from now think about our attempts to organize and structure our communities? What manuals and guidelines of ours will they be analyzing?